Um, I think we're ready for chapter 9, right?
Sure.
Cool. All right, so chapter 9, Manifest Assurance, Security and Android Permissions. So tell us a little bit more about the Manifest Assurance.
So this goes into some of the concerns around when a user installs an application and then what they have access to
Mm-hmm.
using that application. The Android model is that when you install an application from the market, it'll tell you, oh, hey, this application wants to access your camera, it wants to access your file system, it wants to access the internet, and whatever it actually needs to access. And you give certain permissions around that. You say, okay, that's cool. I'll let my application actually do that. But you have to explicitly instruct the application that you
Mm-hmm.
have to give it permissions when you develop it as well, that
Right.
I'm going to need this sort of access from a user.
Mm-hmm.
We also go into a number of things such as how to prevent the screen from dimming, how to go about um, let's see, using custom URIs and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
allowing the application to be installed on the actual SD card of the device.
Mm-hmm.
So Android devices often allow the user to include an additional storage card
Mm-hmm.
for use in their operating system and on their device. And you can give permissions for that or give sort of a preference for being installed on that. You can also encrypt your SQLite database if you're using it from a previous chapter.
Mm-hmm.
You can encrypt it using security measures, and we go into that as well.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I think for chapter 9, it seems like there's not a specific exercise more than revisiting one of your manifests and making sure that you don't have more permissions than you need to, and you have just the right amount of permissions, and understanding how the permissions work by adding and removing them, and obviously going through. At this stage, also like all these recipes are in this chapter are more. You can't really build a task out of them. They're more connected to almost every instance beyond the encryption, which is interesting, and targeting your code, your application to go to an SD card and such. So it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like just scan through it, understand what the capabilities are, and then if you ever need it, just grab the book and go back there so you'll know exactly how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this chapter ties in a lot in some way with when you're actually publishing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So just some things to be aware of when you're publishing, especially in terms of permissions and security and so forth.
Right, that makes sense. And by the way, even though you could encrypt data locally, would you store sensitive data directly on the device, or would you not, just in general, like
Yeah, I
credit
mean, you
cards
could.
or
With
whatever?
Air 3.0,
Mm-hmm.
there's actually a greater emphasis on the different types of encryption that can be used.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's an additional resource to look up. It's not included in the book since Air 3.0 wasn't out at the time. But, there are, of course, many additional resources out there for looking at stuff like that.
Cool.
And, I actually have another book
Mm-hmm.
that goes into some of the Air 3.0 things that's available as a free ebook from O'Reilly.
Oh wow.
So you can go and just look up what's new in Adobe Air 3. It's available on Amazon and O'Reilly's website and all over the place. And that goes a bit more into, it's got some additional mobile stuff for Air 3.
Very cool. I'll definitely check that out and add the link onto our course page.